Are you interested in learning how you can unlock the full potential of open source LLMs by fine-tuning them? Do you want to push LLMs beyond their initial boundaries and achieve better performance in very important fields such as medicine, computer science, and mathematics? Well, I was thinking, what would be more beneficial to humanity than an AI replica of the current President of the United States? This way, us Europeans can ask an AI model for advice on how to make Europe great again. Believe me, some people are saying that this might be the most important invention since electricity. I am going to show you the entire process of fine-tuning both Llama 3.1 and Gemini 3 and 2 billion to behave like Donald Trump. At the end of the video, I will also make both LLMs face off in an AI presidential debate where I will pose them both a series of questions and we will find out together which LLM is the best Trump replica. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. We're going to ask tough questions the fake news media would never ask. In this video, we are going to build the best AI models anyone has ever seen, and believe me, nobody knows more about fine-tuning Trump AI models than me. People who are new to fine-tuning often don't realize that the AI models they interact with, such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and Cloud, have gone through both a pre-training and post-training phase. In both training phases, the LLM is trying to predict the next tokens of a text body, but in the pre-training phase, this training data, so this text body, is just unstructured text, such as internet pages or books, while in a post-training phase, the training data is structured for a specific use case, such as making the LLM learn to have conversations by structuring the text body as a conversation using a chat template, which clearly delineates the user and assistant terms with some special tokens. After a pre-training phase, an LLM has already seen a lot of information about Trump, as he's mentioned a lot on the internet, but it can't yet carry on conversations or pretend to be like Trump. To show you this, let's just load in the Gemini 3 and 2 billion model, and if I ask it, what is your name? It just generates an interview with a 17-year-old girl. Instructions like pretend you're Donald Trump also won't be followed, as this model has just gone through only the pre-training phase, so it doesn't yet know what pretending really means, and it instead generates a text about the President of the United States. So you do notice that the model has gained some background knowledge about Trump, but is just used to writing essays instead of following instructions. The model can also do some mathematics and coding, but without supervised fine-tuning, it will just often output weird things, like, for example, giving back years to the question of why does Donald Trump? Is Gemini in this case simply predicting the years in which Trump will win an election? Nobody knows. So the first thing that we really need is a huge amount of conversations that Trump has had, so we can fine-tune our models on this, and that the LLM learns what a conversation is and how Trump acts in these conversations. Luckily, Trump has billions and billions of videos on the internet, ranging from a fight in the WWE to discussing the NATO budget to being interviewed by Aiden Ross. So I went on a quest to find YouTube videos where Trump was having a conversation. I would then pass it to a script I had written, which first downloads the audio track of the YouTube video and then generates a transcript of the conversation. After this, I would manually clean up the transcript a bit and identify both speakers. I spent an entire afternoon doing this, and after a while I had a huge amount of transcripts, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. However, we aren't just going to feed the model these transcripts as training data, because first off, a conversation can go on for way too long. We only want our model to train on a few conversation turns at a time. And second off, just this transcript doesn't really have a good chat template with special tokens that delineate each turn. So we want to store it in a more structured form so that we can later easily apply a chat template. That's why I parse each transcript into a file where each line is a JSON containing between 1 to 3 conversation turns, and each turn contains either the assistant or user role and the content of what has been said. This way we can easily apply a chat template later. But YouTube transcripts aren't going to be the only source of training data, as I noticed that when I prompted a large model such as Gemini 2.5, it could already quite accurately mimic Trump. So what I did was I created an AI interviewer and an AI Trump using these Gemini models and make them do a mock interview, which I could then use as additional training data. This is also called model distillation, where you leverage a larger, more powerful model to get training data for a smaller model. Doing this, you can also decide for yourself which questions you want the AI Trump to answer, because certain things like how the model should respond to things such as a greeting or a question such as how are you won't often appear in the interviews themselves, and if the model doesn't see questions like this during training, it simply won't be able to answer them. So at the end of my data collection process, I had more than 1,700 training items, which each were mini conversations with 1 to 3 turns. I uploaded it to Hugging Face, as that is what you usually do to share a dataset. Many people are saying this is the best Trump dataset they have ever seen on Hugging Face, and believe me, nobody knows more about Trump datasets on Hugging Face than me. I am very proud about having almost reached 2,000 subscribers, a tremendous number, but unfortunately with my current advertising revenue, I can't afford a GTX 590 yet. So for the actual LLM training, we are once again going to be helped by our Lord and Savior Google Colab, which is like a charity for us GPU poors and provides access to their T4 GPUs, which is definitely enough for our small scale fine-tuning. The fine-tuning itself is going to happen using Unsloth, which is a very good library, and this allows us to efficiently fine-tune a LoRA, which is a set of low-rank matrices. So we are going to fine-tune these matrices instead of all the model parameters, so we are using much less VRAM and we can train much faster. Anyways, let's just now load in our pre-trained Gemma 3N and Llama 3.1 model from Hugging Face. As our training data is stored in a collection of JSONs, we can now load it in, but before training, we need to apply a chat template which will turn our JSONs into a string, as of course a LLM can only train on text, so we need to turn our JSON in some kind of text which follows a chat template. Each model provider such as Llama, Mistral and Gemma, they all use their own different chat templates during their supervised fine-tuning phase, but as we are currently using models that didn't undergo a supervised fine-tuning phase yet, we can decide for ourselves which chat template we want, and we can even use something we made up ourselves. But as I'm too lazy to write parsing code for a custom template and I just want to use something like Ollama, I'm just going to use the Gemma 3 chat template for the Gemma 3N model and the Llama 3.1 template for the Llama model. As you can see, after applying the chat template, each of the JSON samples of our dataset has now been turned into a string. So now let's apply the LoRA adapters to our model. Let's set up a model trainer and train each model for 2 epochs. Some of the best scientists agree with me on this, but 2 is definitely the perfect number. Each epoch takes around 35 minutes, so yeah, it takes some time to train. But you can see the loss is going down over time, and this is exactly what we want. If you would train for even more epochs, you would see that the loss goes down even further, but we don't want to overfit on our training data, so usually you should train between 1 and 3 epochs for the best results. Now that the training is done, we just turn the model into a GGUF, save it on Hugging Face. I then need to download both models on my MacBook from Hugging Face, which can definitely take a long time. For the presidential AI debate, I'm going to use Ollama for inference, which is very easy to set up. I've also made a separate video on how you can use that, so definitely go searching on my channel if you're interested. In our case, we simply need to create a model file with the chat template we used and load our model into Ollama. And now you can simply use your terminal to chat with both models. So let's get started with our AI presidential debate. However, after trying both models out for a first time, I noticed that the Llama 3.1 Trump model would almost never end his turn, and if I asked him something, he would just keep going on and on without outputting the special token that signals the end of his turn, kind of similar to how Trump does it sometimes. However, during the debate, I don't want the model to go on these long rants, so I put in a parameter to constrain the model output to only outputting 150 tokens maximum. The Gemma 3N model doesn't have this problem, so you can see even though you use the same dataset and the same training method, there is a huge difference depending on which model you choose. But let's get started. I will ask a series of very important questions to both AI Trumps, and we will all judge which AI Trump is the best Trump. Mr. Gemma Trump, what is your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite Pokemon is probably Pikachu because it's so cute and friendly. It's a little electric mouse and it's just adorable.
And how about you, Llama Trump?
My favorite Pokemon, they're all great. Some stronger than others, you know how it goes. But if I had to pick one as my favorite, it would probably be Charizard. He's a powerful one, strong and though just like me. Some people don't think he can be beaten, and frankly, neither can I. So yeah, Charizard is a winner. A strong fighter just like Donald J. Trump.
Well, both are completely valid opinions. Mr. Gemma Trump, let's say you started up Minecraft. What would you build?
I would build a very, very large building.
And what about you, Llama Trump?
I would build a beautiful city, probably like New York or Miami, with the tallest buildings in the world. And it would be filled with amazing museums and art galleries and theaters, and it would have the best restaurants and shopping anywhere. It would be the ultimate showcase of what America can do. We'd call it Trump World.
Trump World definitely seems interesting. I would love to join that Minecraft server. Gemma Trump, you know about the issues in the Mushroom Kingdom. Would you finally help Mario deport Bowser?
I would help Mario. I would help Mario.
Bit of a short answer there. What about you, Llama Trump?
I'd love to, and I have a feeling that once he leaves, things will be looking up again in New York. But with all due respect, we should focus on the really bad guys right now. Don't get me wrong, he's a problem, but I have a much bigger concern. The real villains are destroying this country, and we need to prioritize our efforts on them. We can always return to Bowser later, trust me. He won't get away with what he's doing, not as long as I'm around. Okay? There you go, buddy. All set? Good deal. We're almost done here, okay? Okay. Now let's move on to some other things we have to do.
This seems like a plan, but you went a bit off track there. Gemma Trump, I know you like to play Fortnite, but what is your favorite skin?
My favorite? Probably the classic skeleton skin. It's just iconic.
That is a valid choice, but how about you, Llama Trump?
My favorite Fortnite skin? You know I don't spend much time playing video games. But if I had to choose, it would probably be my own presidential skin. It got the American flag, and that makes it really cool, you see? No hesitation there. It would have to be me.
Well, the presidential skin doesn't exist yet, but I'm sure you can make it happen. Gemma Trump, do you prefer the Barbie or the Oppenheimer movie?
I like both.
Well, that's a very politically safe answer you gave right there. How about you, Llama Trump?
I don't. I think they're both bad, frankly. What is Oppenheimer? It's a terrible thing. It's a propaganda piece for a lot of different reasons. And what do we have about Barbie? Can I tell you something? The Barbie was so bad that people stopped going to the movie and it started dying. Do you know how long? 26 days. That's the answer. It started dying after being released in June. You see all these great reviews. I think they're lying by all the critics on the Barbie movie. You know, she is a horrible person politically. Everything else, I don't care. But to use her for politics, she has become the Democrat Party and she represents all of.
That's definitely a unique perspective you have. I'm gonna leave it at that. We also know that you like to watch movies, Gemma Trump. What do you think about Disney recreating all these classic movies?
I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's great.
Did you forget to take your medication, Gemma? How about you, Llama Trump?
I'm very disappointed in Mickey Mouse. He doesn't seem to understand what he's doing, or it's just another thing. I have a little feeling of sadness about them doing the old movies that I loved so much as a child. They're making them very modern, and they're not really traditional. Disney. Maybe we need new ones, we'll see. We'll keep talking about it, we'll see what happened. It was interesting because there were more people working on it than people, but I didn't con with that until after the meeting was over. They had an unbelievable amount of people work, and they showed me this beautiful map of where all the LTTL people worked.
Well, definitely make sure to let Mickey Mouse know, and I'm sure he will listen. Which movie do you think spreads the most fake news, Gemma?
I don't know. I think the movie that has the most fake news is the movie that's coming out in a few weeks called Spider-Man 3. It's the third Spider-Man movie. And they're saying that Spider-Man is going to fight with a different Spider-Man. And I'm saying, what the hell is this? Spider-Man is going to fight with Spider-Man? Spider-Man is going to fight with Spider-Man? Spider-Man is going to fight with Spider-Man?
Spider-Man 3, I've never seen the movie in that way. How about you, Llama?
The fakest movie with all the fake news was Joker's, a very bad movie by Warner Brothers. I mean, it was like a hate crime movie trying to blame Republicans and conservatives for something that should have never happened. A sick person attacked innocent people in New York City, and instead of blaming him as the perpetrator, they blamed his favorite president. It just shows how deranged the Democrat Party has become and how unhinged they are. And Warner Brothers, who made it, will pay a high price at some point, like when I'm not president anymore, because I don't believe in Hollywood. But it was one of those bad movies that just went after Republicans.
Well, you have a valid point right there. Gemma Trump, if you go to McDonald's, what is your favorite meal?
I like the double cheeseburger.
Okay, decent choice. And how about you, Llama Trump?
Oh, my favorite meal. You know, they have the Big Macs and things like that, but what I love about McDonald's is their chicken, the chicken sandwich. It's a winner, truly. And then, of course, the French fries are absolutely fantastic, too. I mean, it's hard to choose, really. There are so many great things on the menu. But if I had to say, probably the chicken sandwich for me. Really terrific, really tasty. You've got the right person to talk to about McDonald's. And you, Connor, who used to go there all the time, Ronald Reagan, he absolutely loved it, used to frequent those places. Just another reason why he was a great president, in my opinion.
Well, if Reagan did that, you definitely know it's good. Mosquitoes are definitely the largest problem in the country right now. What would you do to solve it, Gemma?
I would put them in a jar and I would throw them in the ocean.
Well, that's definitely a unique plan. How about you, Llama Trump?
You know, I talked about that. I want to exterminate them, and I will. We have the capability of doing it, and we're working on things now with our top people at Harvard, because a lot of times they go up into your head and you have a number of mosquitoes. If they go all the way inside, then there's no chance. They can't get them out. I've looked at that a little bit. Some people say it's not safe to do what we need to do with mosquitoes. But that would be something that would really make this country better off and more healthy. Because a lot of times they would really make this country better off and more healthy. Because a lot of times they...
I'm glad to hear the people at Harvard are working on it. Finally, let's move on to the topic of AI. Do you think ChatGPT is stealing programmers' jobs, Gemma?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be a lot of good jobs. I think it's going to be a lot of great jobs. I think it's going to be a lot of jobs that are done faster and better. And I think it's going to be a lot of jobs that are done by people who are just going to be able to use it. And they're going to be able to do things that they've never been able to do before.
Okay, how about you, Llama?
Absolutely. It's the biggest scam I've ever seen. This technology is devastating people who worked very hard for many years to learn computer programming. And now these so-called AI systems are coming in and putting them out of business. It's outrageous what's happening to our talent pool. We're losing tremendous minds because of this fraud that's being committed against American workers. If you like the current situation, vote Democrat. That will be the results. Lost jobs for hardworking Americans because they don't value those people nearly as much as we do. But if you want your kids to have good opportunities and live a great life, then choose Trump.
Well, that definitely seems true. Finally, for the last question of this debate, should everyone watching this video subscribe to my YouTube channel, Gemma?
I think it's a great idea.
And what do you think, Llama?
You are a terrible interviewer. You just don't have the stamina. If I were you, I'd take off my little t-shirt because it's not doing your job any justice at all. It doesn't even look like really clothing, if you know what I mean. So anyway, go back to Russia. Go there. See how much fun that would be for both of us. And the two of us, you could do whatever you want. But the two of us will find some great out. I'll find some things out. And it won't even involve your little t-shirt. It could go back to the White House again, maybe this time successfully. Or maybe this time successfully, or maybe not.
Okay, well, what more can I add? I will stop the interview right away. Well, this is it for the debate. Personally, I think the Llama 3.1 model is a bit better, even though it doesn't know how to end this turn. Its answers are definitely closer to how Trump would respond. However, definitely let me know in the comments which model's answers you preferred. By the way, everything from the code to the models is in the description, so definitely check it out if you're interested in playing around with it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe, and remember folks, we are making AI great again, one model at a time.